Okay, record there. Okay, I just got Mark.
Can
Linda,
anybody hear me?
miss you.
Anybody
I can
hear
hear
me?
you.
All right, so it's just Bruce who can't hear me. Has he got his headphones plugged in?
Yes, he does.
Let's
Oh, you
see.
mean plugged into his equipment?
Yeah. I wondered if I don't think he can hear us.
No, I think Linda, you still can't record? I think yeah, I think I hit allow record. Mark,
It,
can you record?
it says recording, yes.
Okay, Linda's good. Oh, okay, yeah. I can't hear anybody. Why is that? Is the correct earphones on? Let me see. Wait. Check, check. Okay, why can't I hear anybody?
Can you hear us yet? No?
Yeah, I still can't hear anybody.
Do you want me to play something while we're waiting to...
Audio. Input. Check 1 2 1 2. Output volume. Check 1 2. Oh, okay. I think I can hear you guys now.
Can,
Okay.
can you hear me
Can
now?
you hear me?
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's good.
Okay, okay.
Hooray!
Good, good.
Okay. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Kind of echo.
It's echoey.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, you know what that is? Okay, wait. Okay, check 1 2. Yeah, so I think it's echoey. So like if somebody is unmuted, but you're not using earphones, then you're gonna hear my voice, and then my voice is gonna go into your computer and it's gonna start echoing like that. So I think that's it. Okay, so sorry. So what were you guys was anyone trying to talk to me and being ignored by me for a little while? Was somebody, yeah, because I didn't even know someone was trying to say something. Was there a question?
It was just on trying to get you to let us record. But
Oh, okay. All right, so everybody is good now. Okay, I think I got everybody. Okay, yeah, so I was gonna say, just kind of think of some questions. Anything, yeah, I mean anything that you can think of. Like I was saying in Hawaii, there's I don't know anything about how to maintain your ukulele or as far as trying to use a humidifier and things like that. But because Jake travels a lot, he had to kind of figure out how to do things. And I have friends on the mainland who bought many made in Hawaii ukuleles, and they tell me how it's so dry that their ukuleles just crack, which is kind of sad to hear. Maybe technique songs. I mean, I don't know how often I can get Jake to chime in and just kind of hang out with us. So take advantage if you can. Okay. But while we're waiting, um, do you guys know this song? I think you guys might have heard this song. Let me find it. I think it's called There She Goes by, let's see.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus team up. Oh my god, oh my god! Epic stories.
Okay. Okay, so just take a listen to the song.
There she goes. There she goes again. Racing through my brain.
Okay, so if you haven't heard this song before, it's called There She Goes. Sixpence. So I'll type it in here. Okay, so so I was asked to learn this song, so I figured we can kind of learn it together. I'm gonna play it in the key of C. So the melody, oh, sorry. There she goes. And the chords is C chord, there, G chord, she, F chord goes. There she goes again. Okay, so as you can see, like what I'm trying to do is put it together, and I kind of know the melody. I actually don't know the melody that well. I just heard it a few times. So for me, I've I've heard this song before, so I kind of know it, but I don't know the words. It's hard for me to really sing the melody in my head. So the melody that I'm playing might be a little wrong, but I know that I can always fix it later. But for now, the melody is just G, B, C, E, G, D, B, C, dun, 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 dun. Something like that, right? So what I want you to do is try to put that first part together on your own, okay? So the melody again, there she goes, and the chords, C chord, there she goes again. Okay, so try to figure that out and figure out how you would play it, right? Because you're not going to play it like this. I mean, you could play it like that, but figure out how you would strum it. Because you could actually play it. There she goes. Dun, 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 dun. Da, da, da. I gotta try to figure out what I would do there. But you know, so now I'm trying to keep that groove. There she goes. Da, 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 da. Something like that, right? Okay, so now you got to kind of figure out how you would play it. And let me just type in the song. There she goes by Sixpence. So that's the name of the song. I just left in the comment. There she goes by Sixpence None the Richer. But it's kind of a cool song. Like I kind of like the groove to it. You know, it's kind of like it has a nice feel to it. So as I play it, I would want to try to keep that groove there. You know, that groove going. Ooh. And once again, right, if you don't know the song, it is a little tricky, but maybe, so for me, that's what I would do too. I would actually try to listen to the song over and over and over and over. Like, to be honest, I don't feel like I'm familiar with the song enough to actually try to put it together. But, you know, we can just kind of go over the first part together. So my feeling is if I cannot sing the song in my head, like the whole melody, then I'm not ready to put it together. Like I don't even know the words. I just know there she goes again. I don't know the words after that. Okay. But so yeah, so you could play it, you know, if you wanted to take this kind of approach. Okay, so the problem that I can see right now is when I go to the next part, I believe the melody is something like this. One more time. Something like that, okay? But the chords are D minor, da 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 da, G da da, da 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 da. So now what I'm figuring out is as I hold the D minor and I play the melody, now I have to go to the G7 or the G, but you know, because you can't really hear the B in there, it doesn't really sound like you're changing from a D minor to a G7. So like what I mean is, let's say I was holding, let's say I had to go from a C chord, right? There was an example where I had to do this. What song was it? Well, I can't think of it right now. Okay, but the point is, when you hold a C chord like this, right? But then you don't actually play the bottom string. Okay, let's do this. C chord, C sus. C chord, C sus. Okay, so you could strum it like this. Okay, so let's say that's the chords to a certain song, but the melody is here, all on like around these strings. So what's happening is because the melody is here, you're not going to be able to hear the chord changes because we're not actually playing these strings. So when I get to this part, the melody is here, so you can't really hear the difference in the chord changes. So what's the difference between a D minor and a G7 if I only play the top three strings? If I don't play the bottom string, you're basically hearing this. D minor, G7. You hear how the change is very, very subtle? Like you can't really hear the difference between a D minor and a G7. But if I play the bottom string, D minor, G7. Now you can really hear the change, right? D minor, G7. But if I don't play the bottom string, once again, D minor, G7. Okay? The only difference is basically if I'm doing this, holding the A and not holding the A, right? On the G string. So sometimes in solo arrangements, you have to consider that too. Like maybe C is not the best key to play this song in, okay? Because of just for that one reason. Or maybe I can try to find out a different voicing of D minor and G7. Okay, so for the most part, right, this part is kind of simple. Oh, there she goes. And this is a kind of tricky part. I'm not sure what I would do there. So it's kind of like a common thing, right? You're kind of arranging a song, you kind of get most of it, then you kind of get to one area and you're going to think, how should I play that part, okay? But we know the chords, D minor. I guess you can go G7, D minor, G7. Okay? Here's the other thing to keep in mind too. You see this note right here, D? On your whole ukulele, there's only one D, which is right here. So let's say the melody was A, B, C. I have an A, B, C here. I have an A, B, C here. Oh, right here. I have it here. I have it here. Okay, so on your ukulele, right? Some notes you have like maybe 4 of them or 3 of them, but a C note, a C sharp note, a D note, a D sharp note, you only have 1. Okay, so if I need this D melody, I have to play it here. So this is what kind of limits my, can I actually find another voicing for D minor if I have to use this D? Okay, so you guys kind of understand what I mean? It is a little, just something to think about. What is... Okay, so give it a try. And yeah, try to make it groove though. Just take that beginning. So I might actually consider changing the melody slightly. I might consider that just so that I can put in it maybe I'll do that. Maybe something like that. There is. I know Jake doesn't like to do this, but I believe too. If you know the song and you're singing it in your head plays a big part in hearing the melody. So sometimes I can't remember what other song it was, but a lot of times I don't actually play the song exactly because I feel like if you don't know the song, I want it to kind of sound a little more musical. I want the song to be a little more catchy, but I'll change it in a way where even if you know the song, you can still kind of hear the melody in your head. So, for example, right, if I played this, okay, you might not know this song, but if I told you this is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Now, as I strum it again, you're going to hear the melody. Listen. You notice how now when I strum it, you can kind of hear the melody in your head because you know what song it is. Okay, so to me, that is something I consider. So if you know the song and you're singing along, and let's say I change the melody slightly or I just kind of leave a syllable out or 2 syllables out, I believe you're still going to hear it in your head. And if you don't know the song, you won't even notice that I took out a syllable or anything, right? Yeah, so your brain will kind of play a part in what you hear. Okay, even when you practice, it's the same thing. Okay, so for today, if you guys know this song, you guys can, the chords are C, G, F, C to G and F, C to G and F, and D minor, da da, G7, da 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 da, and it just repeats. Da, da. Maybe something like that. So for the next couple of minutes, I want you to try to work on that. If you have any questions, let me know. But also, I think Jake is going to chime in soon, maybe in about 5 minutes or so. So try to prepare some stuff for him. Even songs, if you want to ask him stuff about songwriting, touring, performing, recording, little tricks and tips, whatever you think you would want to know. Or maybe if you guys want, you can just tell him, hey, Mark, maybe you can ask Jake, hey, can you play that song again? Because last time the comments kept blocking your hands. But it's good for you guys to kind of, like whatever you're kind of interested in. Because he actually chimed in on yesterday's class too. And it's kind of good to get other opinions too, ask him questions, even about chords and things like that. And if you're into music theory, he's definitely the person to ask.
I watched him changing his strings last night on Facebook Live. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I was surprised. I kind of saw that too. I didn't watch the whole thing though, because I knew I wasn't on it, so I was like, I don't want to watch it.
If you watch the both videos, watch a bit of each, you'll see what I mean about the comments. Well, it's the ukulele, and for me being the ukulele geek,
Yeah.
exactly what he's doing when he's playing the song that we've been learning.
Oh, you know what you could do if you want? You could ask Jake to play something like a song that you like, and then maybe he might play a little bit of it. And you guys are recording, right? So you guys would be able to get it up close without the comments in there. Something like that.
Hi, Bruce.
Yes.
Let me introduce myself. This is actually my second session. My name is Feng Shi. You can just call me Feng. So,
Okay.
So greeting everybody. So I learned although I learned ukulele for maybe 1 or 2 years, but actually I just learned how to do the finger style for only 6 months. So there are lots of things for me to learn.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm glad to be here to join your workshop.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So where are you from?
So I'm from China, but actually I'm currently in Ithaca, New York.
Oh,
so
okay,
it's
okay.
Yes, 8:30 now, 8:30 p.m.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for joining us. Yeah, good. I mean, this is actually going to be the first time we're going to get Jake on here during for the intermediate workshop. And then yesterday was actually his first time because he's joined a few times, but just to kind of listen. He's usually, just he doesn't want everybody to know that he secretly takes lessons from me. But that's just kidding. But this time, it'll be like his Facebook Live. You'll see video of him, and it was kind of neat. It was kind of good to have him on yesterday because I would just make him the main screen, and I could just kind of sip at my drink and just let him do what he does. It's kind of nice. But
Yeah, I was there yesterday. That was a really good session.
yeah. Okay, let me go give him a call. Let's see. I'll just send him a text. Oh, good. So you guys have some questions? Yeah, because I really hope you guys can ask him stuff and keep him busy so that he feels like, oh yeah, next time I'll come back and he can add stuff. But if I bring him on and I tell him, right, hey, yeah, so Jake, so some of the guys have questions for you, and like nobody asks anything, then it's gonna be like, all right, well, thank you for joining. All right, maybe.
Yeah, actually, Bruce, I have a really general question. So this is my my ukulele for intermediate learning. So this is Super Nani made by Anunu, which is a Taiwanese brand, and this is a pretty I don't know, really unique ukulele because the top is made of the spruce, but the back is made of koi. So so the song sounds like really like guitar, really strong.
Yeah.
Especially the low key sounds really strong. So and the thing I'm wondering is the string. So I actually yesterday asked you what string you were using, and you said, "Oh, you use the first string." Actually, I want to ask you which
Oh yeah,
brand.
so
That's
yeah,
me.
so yeah, we
Yeah,
use the Dario strings.
Dario. Yes. So
Yeah, and we use the
so
Pro Arts.
so this string also is like made by a new, which is really hard string, and on the surface it's really tough. It's not
Oh,
really
I see.
smooth. Yeah, and I don't know, like as a like maybe for me as a beginner, what kind of string did you recommend to
Well,
use?
I've always used the Dario strings, and to be honest, Jake is the one that would try all the different strings,
Oh,
and
I see.
and he would just say, "Oh, Bruce, you should try this one. Or this is the best strings," and I figured I'll just take his word for it because I mean he knows what he's doing, right? So I won't argue with him. I'll just tell him, "Oh, okay. Well, next time you go to the store, buy me a pack of strings too." So. Yeah, so, well, you could ask him about strings. One thing that I do understand about strings, though, is that the way some strings are made, like, I really believe that the Dario strings will give you the natural sound of your instrument. So if you have a cheaper ukulele that's not made well, you might not want to use the Dario strings. And then the opposite of that would be like the Aquila strings, right? The Aquila strings kind of have their own sound. So no matter what instrument you put those strings on, you're going to kind of get that same sound because you're getting a lot of the string sound and not the instrument sound. So I don't feel that the Darios work for all instruments, but for most of the part, I know that they're a lot warmer sounding, and like the Aquilas are very bright sounding, you know. And yeah, that's just kind of my opinion on strings. And I don't really know all the different, like, I'm not familiar with Worth strings, and stuff like that. I don't know what other brands there are. There's quite a bit.
I tried some Martin.
Oh
Martin
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, so
only
there's
good.
Martin.
Yeah,
I'm not familiar with them. I know I'm not a fan of the titanium strings.
titanium. Okay.
Yeah. So the ones that we use are just the Pro Art nylon strings. Yeah.
Oh, it's nylon, but it's transparent.
Yeah. It's a
Okay.
nylon.
Oh, oh, I saw like a nylon. It should be like a totally white strings. No.
Oh no, no, not always.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I hope that helps. Let's see. Let me give him a call. Oh, but anyways, yes, if you guys can try to you guys have the video now, so you guys can go ahead and check out the song Live. But try to see if you guys can arrange this song on your own. There she goes. If you don't know the song, then yeah, don't worry about it. It's more about the thinking, right? The thought process and how you put it together. Let's see. Hmm. I hope you on soon. Okay, so once again, okay, so for me, I do actually, yeah, so I have a few CDs out, and when I go into the recording studio, though, I'm not familiar exactly with the types of music equipment. I actually hire the same person all the time, and then he just kind of knows how to get the sound that I want, right? So I don't have a recording studio at home, so I'm not too familiar. Oh, I'm not too familiar with the equipment. Yo, you can log on soon. All right, okay, 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 bye. So yeah, so I don't know what is the best. I'm like that with sound too. Like I know the basics of sound, but I don't really understand like the frequency and like what I want more of or less of. And in the recording studio, I'm kind of the same way where I don't like so much the mic sound. I do like more of the pickup sound. So a lot of times what I'll do is we'll record with the pickup and with the mic, and then you can kind of blend it. But as far as trying to find equipment, Jake would know because Jake actually has a like a small recording thing in his studio at home. So I think that's where he kind of started learning more about, the names of different mics and things like that. But I don't know. I just use whatever Jake tells me to use. But he should be logging on soon, maybe in a minute or so. So I'm gonna turn it over to him. Do you guys have any questions regarding the song? Or with Liv? Yeah, before I yeah, I am. I'm very spoiled.
Go back to your strings, Bruce. I'm using Joel from the Hawaiian Music Supply.
Oh, okay, okay.
Using his low tension strings, which make my candelier really bright and cheerful.
Oh, I see.
Because they're low tension, they're really easy to bend and play. And for a
Oh, yeah,
beginner,
I'm not familiar with their strings. But I
yeah,
do know, yeah, more companies are making them, but yeah, I've never really tried anything other than the Darios.
yeah. But I got to try and find something I can get hold of in this country though, because the tax man kills me. And even though I pay postage, I got to pay an extra £8 handling fee.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone about that. He emailed me asking if I ship, the Shima ukuleles to the UK, which we
Yeah,
do.
yeah,
But I had to let him know that, it's really hard to explain this, but I guess the customs, right, when it goes through customs, about 40% of the time they'll they'll try to charge a duty fee,
yeah,
or a customs fee, which is very close to about another $90.
yeah. It's
But
going to
then,
be
but
20%
then,
tax on top.
yeah, but most of the time, they won't. They'll, just kind of get past. They'll get
Yeah,
slipped through.
yeah,
So yeah, it's really weird. Even in Japan, I think we sold a few over there, and I think maybe two or three times there was a charge.
yeah,
But yeah, it's hard. So what I tell the customers is because they have the option to either deny the package and it'll get sent back, or usually I'll offer to just kind of split the duty fee with them. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
there's Jake. Wait, let me spotlight you. Let's see. You remember how to turn on your the natural Jake? You remember how to turn on the natural thing, the original sound?
Yeah, I got it. I got it on. So, hi,
All right.
hello everybody.
Hello, Jake.
So I kind of just told them that you were going to be on, and
Yeah.
I told them, if they can ask you questions or you
Oh,
can,
oh.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, hi everyone. How's everything going?
Hi,
Can you
Jake. How are you?
Hey, doing good. Let's see if I can
can
go
you
to.
see all
Oh,
the
there we go.
chats, the
Yeah.
comments?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I can
Yes,
see
so
everyone now.
that's kind of where we kind of talk. And then the thing is, if we want, some of us will unmute ourselves to speak, and then we'll
Okay.
mute ourselves again.
Yeah. Well, I think Nan had a question about the strumming pattern for 143. Um, Let's see. Yeah, we can talk about that. It's the strum pattern is basically it's in 6/8. Um, what am I doing? Let me see if I can. It's yeah, it's a basic 6/8. Oh my goodness. Sorry. My I just I just took my kids fishing.
Oh,
So
did you guys catch anything?
no, we didn't catch anything.
So
Chase had a couple of nibbles, but
Cody's coming over. I told him come. He should be here pretty soon, but he caught a couple of uluas. He said so. He's gonna bring it over, and I'm gonna try drying it.
sorry. What I'm doing is yeah, when I grabbed the I kind of tripped and I grabbed the rock and I got a chip in my nail, so I'm just filing it out real quick. Okay, so yeah, so the strum pattern for 143 is just a basic it's a basic 6/8 pattern, which means that the beats are divided into groups of 6/8 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then sometimes you can feel it more like a like a 2/4, with triplets. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's kind of the feeling you want to have. So I just changed my strings, and I haven't really had time to stretch them out. Gonna be a little low, but here, this is so just so you can hear the pattern here. It's like this. You can hear this. See, so if I were to simplify it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 6, 1, 2. 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's kind of like the way I'm feeling it. And so I apologize. Bless you.
Oh, sorry.
I'm actually I'm low. I'm almost a half step low, I
A
think.
little low.
But
So I have a question. I have a question regarding
uh-huh.
how how important, because like so for most of the strum patterns that I play, I can kind of strum and count, right? Like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or whatever the beat is. But
Mhm.
then there's some strum patterns where I can't really get the count, but in my head I feel like I can kind of find a groove. So like I know where the one is, but
Yeah.
sometimes the accents are on the upbeat, so so and I know a lot of the students struggle counting even with the down down up up down strum because when they say the three, they have a hard time saying the three because you're not actually hitting the string, right? You're just like down, down,
Yeah.
up. So, how important do you think it is to actually be able to consistently count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 while you're playing versus just kind of knowing where the one is?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you know where the one is, if you always know where the one is, then you're counting, right? Because
Mm,
even if you're just counting just whole notes, one, one, you're still
okay.
counting, right? So it just depends on how you subdivide it. Um, so the more subdivisions that I think when you first start out, it's important to know the subdivision. So when you're doing, like, for example, the down, down, up, down strum, right? Even though you're not actually making contact with the strings on beat 3, you're playing down, down, up, down, 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 up, up, down. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It's good to be able to hear the subdivision. So you're actually playing eighth notes, right? So it's so when you're if you subdivide in your head eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now you know you're playing 1 and down, down. So 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4. So that way you know the beat 3 is actually you're not making contact, but it's still there. 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4. So I think it's important to be able to you know hear that, because if you can feel where the pulse is, you know, on those beats, then you have something to play off of, right? Because you're not just guessing where it is, but you're feeling the 3 and, you know, or 2 and. So you're
Yeah,
feeling
yeah, yeah.
1, 2 and 3 and, right? 3
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
4, 3 and 4, 3 and 4. So I'm there. 3 and 4, and 4. So I feel that, you know, internally, that the beat 3, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3
Mm.
and 4. And you know, so I think it is important to be able to know uh, you know where you are in in a measure, right? So yeah,
Mm.
so it is important, you know, and you don't want to just guess. I mean, if you keep guessing, you know, then I mean, versus if you understand where you are actually making contact with the strings, what where in that, I guess, in those subdivisions you're actually making
Mm.
contact
Because even
is
like
important.
for 143, like I know
Mm-hmm.
I can strum it, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to count, you know. But I'm trying to
Yeah.
rely on trying to just feel the groove. But I
Mm-hmm.
would think that if I tried to play it to a metronome or without a metronome, my timing is probably going to be in and out quite a bit, right?
Yeah, and well, and like for example, you know, that the way that I'm saying is it's just, you know, I mean that's just one way of doing it. I mean there are so many incredible musicians that have no that are that play completely by feel and by ear. You know, they have
Mm.
no understanding of even the notes or the chords that they're playing, um, you know, or even how they're subdividing beats, but they can internalize it and they can feel it, and that's great. You know, I mean that's the most important thing is if you can feel it and you don't get lost, you know, you can feel where it is, then that's great. But sometimes in the beginning, to help understand what it is that you're playing, you know, it's good to know where the beats are. But
Mm.
I'll be the first to admit that when I first started playing, um, I didn't have, you know, I didn't learn any music theory. I didn't learn any of this stuff. You know, I just it was just I just played by ear, and I just would try to figure things out on my own and try to mimic other recordings or other things that I heard. But then when I was in intermediate school in the seventh grade, that's when I joined the band, our school band, and I started learning how to read music, and then I took it upon myself to get a better understanding of music theory, you know, but it wasn't until I was, you know, like 13 years old.
Mm. So what kind of suggestions would you have? Because I feel like when it comes to strumming, you know, I remember you told me too, like you know, to feel a certain beat or to accent on a certain beat, you need to know where the beat before is, you know, and to feel that beat, you need to know where the beat before that is. So eventually, you gotta kind of be able to feel the beat because if you don't know where the up is, how can you place the down correctly, right? The down after or something like that. What kind of tips or drills do you think you could do to help people practice, you know, feeling more of the upbeats? And that's something that I remember when I was a lot younger too, that was something I struggled with a lot, right? Even today, when I'm playing with a metronome, I'll notice like, oh, maybe my upbeat was a little late
Hmm.
there or something like that. Um,
Yeah, the best thing that for me, what helped me a lot was I just buy a pair of drumsticks. Buy a pair of drumsticks, and you can buy a drum pad if you want, but it's not necessary. I mean, you can just use a pillow. But basically, you want your strumming hand to be the downbeat. So, like for me, it would be my right hand, and just play the just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Hit quarter notes with your right hand, and then the upbeats, you're going to hit it with your left hand. So it's going to be, so if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and then that way you're and practice to a metronome or practice to a song, because you want to have that consistency. But the reason that's important is because you still want to feel where that upbeat is with your left hand, even though your right hand may not be strumming the strings at that time, right? So I think that's a really good exercise for getting a good feel, you to internalize, where the upbeat is, because you're actually physically hitting the pillow with the drumstick, and that helps you to internalize where that beat is.
mm, all right, it's
Yeah.
good stuff. Oh, you got a
Um,
bunch of questions though.
yeah. So let me go down some of these. Go down the list here. Linda is asking if I can recommend a looper for the uke. So on my pedal board, I have just a basic Boss loop station, but let me show you what my favorite looper is. And I use it for more for recordings and stuff, but for touring and just being on a pedal board, it's just too big. So it doesn't make sense because I only use the looper for like 2 songs, right? But because I don't like to overuse it. But let me show you the looper that I like. This this is by far my favorite. It's the Boomerang, and this is the they call it the Rang 3. It's the Boomerang, and it's the third generation. Um, but sound wise, I mean the quality of the audio, and just there's like absolutely no latency. Um, it's it is difficult to it is a little difficult to use. It's not as user friendly, but as far as just getting the best sound, the best and as far as no latency, being very precise, this is my favorite here. But it's just you can see how big it is, right? So to put this on a pedal board, would take up a lot of real estate there.
So will that work? I don't need to use like a micro, all I have is a micro cube, to try, but I was wanting to use something to practice, like to lay down background chords.
Yeah, I would just get a simple Boss loop station, the RC1. It's just the size of a regular Boss pedal. So, super easy to use. There's just one you just there's just one button, right? So you click the button and it starts recording. You click it again and it stops recording.
Okay,
And then you can just layer over it. And then the only thing is if you're using it in real time, it's a little difficult because to actually stop the looper, you have to hit it twice to stop it. So for some people that can be a little challenging because you have to time it. So as you're playing, you have to you almost have to the way I do it is if I want it to stop on one, I hit it on the end of four. So
okay,
if I'm playing the song 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, so I hit it twice, dung dung, right? And
okay.
just subdividing the beat like that helps me to to because sometimes if you're trying to click something that and you're completely off the beat with your foot, it might throw off what you're playing here, right? So So that's kind of what I do. I just subdivide it, and I'll play the. But if I want it to stop before one, then I'll start the click on four. So it'd be one, two, three, four, and. So I'll click it four, and then that way on beat one, it's completely gone already,
Okay.
right? So I can end with the chord. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So yeah, that's what I would recommend, and they're not expensive. I think they're under $100 actually, the RC ones. Sound wise, they're not the best, so I don't run it in my chain. I run it I don't run it in sequence, but I run it parallel, and I use a true bypass looper. So when I'm not using the looper, which is majority of the time, it's not in my signal chain, so it won't affect the quality of my main signal. Um, let's see, which
Did it
mic?
did it did it take you a long time to get comfortable ending the looper on the four and? Because that's why, because you gave me a looper, so I use it a lot and I like it to
Yeah.
practice, but I don't think I would ever perform with it because of that reason. I can't make it stop, when I want it to
Yeah,
stop.
no, it
Uh,
is. It's tricky. There other loopers will have a dedicated
or
stop
kill.
button. So you just
Oh,
so you can just hit it once. But they're bigger because they need two buttons, right? So
oh,
even
I
the
see.
boss makes another one, the RC something else, but there's actually two buttons, two pedals that you can hit, and one is to record and play and
And
all
the
that,
other
but
one is
one
just
is
a
just
kill switch.
dedicated to be a stop. So anytime you want
Oh.
it to stop, you just click that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So every time, like if I have people over and I'm gonna play something and I use the looper, every time I use it, I always have to do the fade out ending. I
Yeah.
think I just let the thing loop and then I slowly just make it softer and softer and softer and softer.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, you gotta practice. I mean, because if it's a really slow song,
Yeah.
sometimes the eighth notes may not
Or
be quick enough to
yeah.
stop it. So then you gotta think 16th notes, right?
Oh, okay,
So you
okay.
gotta think teta or ta one, right?
Mm.
One to teta, two to teta, three to teta, four to teta one. So
Yeah,
you
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
subdivide, 16th notes rather than one and three, te,
yeah,
four,
yeah.
te,
Because if
right?
you go,
So
yeah, press, that's too slow, right? You
yeah, so in
hit
that case, if
press.
if that's if it's press, if that's the eighth notes,
Yeah,
one and two and three and four, then you gotta go see one and three and
yeah,
four
yeah.
and one and two and three and four and one to theta, two to theta, three to theta, four
Because,
to theta one, right? So toe
yeah,
one,
yeah.
right? So
Ah,
yeah,
interesting.
so that's kind of so you just have to subdivide it, in the way that makes most sense, depending on the tempo of the song.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right.
Next question was, let's see. Someone was asking, Michio was asking about my nail clipper. I have this really this crazy nail clipper that someone gave to me many years ago in Japan, and I just found out the other night that it's like a $70 nail clipper. But I just remember it being so nice. This is what it looks like. But it's so incredibly sharp, and I remember when I got it, this was like almost, I think, about 20 years ago when I got this from someone. I told myself I'm never going to use it to cut my nail or anything. I just use it for changing my strings. So whenever I change my strings to cut the string at the end, I use this because it's so precise, and it cuts the strings so well. Like, here, I don't know if you can hear. I changed my strings the other just 2 days ago, but if you can hear this, I mean, when it cuts, listen to this. I mean, it's just like, it's so clean. It's crazy. It's so, but yeah. So this has been my string changing tool for a
Oh,
lot
first.
for forever. And then this peg winder is amazing. Um, this one right here.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's the smoothest. It's like the Cadillac of string winders. But I bought this on a site called Stuart McDonald, Stu Mac. They sell all this kind of you know like really great uh, luthier tools and things like that. But yeah, it was like I think it was like $30. But I bought one for all my musician friends a while back, and I kept one for myself because it was so good. But this one doesn't have a clipper on it. like some of the other, string winders. There's a clipper on it where you can. So the combination of these two have been, just amazing for me. So I like that. It just makes,
Your
I don't
nail
know, it makes it
clipper
feel
costs
more
more
like
than
a,
my tuner.
huh?
I said your
Okay,
nail
wait,
clipper costs more than my tuner.
okay, let
How
me
are you
see.
changing your
Let's get,
strings, Jake?
I'm
How,
sorry.
how often do you change your strings?
So, I used to change my strings for every show before, but now I change them for every well, it depends. So if I have a lot of consecutive shows, sometimes when I'm on tour, we'll have like, 20 consecutive shows, right, every day. So when we have shows like that, usually I'll change my strings every 2 to 3 shows. But then if I have breaks in between, I change my string, before every show.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, let's see. But you don't have to do that. I like to do that because just for the consistency, the consistency in tone and intonation. Um,
I
yeah.
Hi,
remember.
Jack. Sorry,
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's fine.
No, I was just gonna say I know like when Jake uses my ukulele, the first thing he'll always tell me is, "Dude, Bruce, you gotta change your strings."
Like,
I'm
man,
like,
when was the last time you changed your strings? Yeah.
uh,
But
Yeah, Jack.
again, yes.
Yeah, just wondering, so yeah, I asked Bruce about the what brand of string did you guys usually use? And Bruce said he always uses the Dario, and he said you try a lot of different strings. So I think I'm a kind of beginner of the finger style. Do you have any recommendation for
I
me?
um I mean, for the last, I used to work at a music store. That's why when I right after I graduated high school, and and so I had access to a lot of different strings, and I could try a lot of different things. And I've been very fortunate where string makers, constantly send me stuff to try. And I mean, I have to honestly say, um, because I've been using these strings way before I ever got an endorsement deal with them. But the Dario makes a set called their Pro Arts. And so what I did when I was growing up, because back then they didn't make ukulele strings. But ukulele strings are just basically nylon strings, right? They're the classical nylon strings. So I used to go out and I used to buy the classical guitar sets, and I would have to buy 3 different sets to make one one set for my ukulele. Because what I would do is I would buy the hard tension classical guitar pro art set, and I would use the first string and the second string to make my A and the E. And then for the third string, for the C string, I would use the normal tension, the third string for the normal tension classical guitar set, and I would use that as my third string. And then for the fourth string, I would buy the extra hard tension and then use the first string of that set. So I had to buy 3 different classical guitar sets, to make this one set. And then later on, getting single strings became a lot easier. So then I would just buy the single packs like these, you know. And I still love them. The Dario, they've been experimenting too and making different kinds of ukulele strings, like their titanium ones and all that. But the original Pro Arts to me are there's just this warmth to them that I really like, and they're just so versatile, you know. And they sound good on the pickup. There's a lot of strings that might sound good acoustically, but once you plug them in, the way that they interact with the saddle and the piezo, it's very different. It sounds more brittle, but acoustically it sounds bright and open, and so it depends. But I think these Pro Arts so far are the ones that I haven't found anything that I personally like better. So yeah, those strings there. Um, Someone was asking about the hammer on followed by pull off. Oh, I think.
That's me again. Sorry.
Oh, okay, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
So
Thanks.
actually,
So Feng,
yeah.
yeah.
So actually, I have the a tab for it. This is I don't know whether you can see it. This is the one. Do you see that hammer on with that port, the 3 and C and
Yeah. What song is that?
it's actually Roy Natayuma's memory.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. What is he doing? Sorry, yeah, I'm not a tab reader, but I'll try my. Do they have the notation on the top?
No, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I never learned how to read tab, but well, sorry. So I'm sorry. Which is the part that you're looking at?
This
The
part. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I don't know what those symbols mean, unfortunately.
I think this
Yeah.
means like yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what you're supposed to
Uh-huh.
do with that.
But wouldn't a hammer on pull off just be like a hammer on pull off?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just
yeah.
depends. I just don't know
Like,
what context it's in.
So yeah, I think it's something like this. It's like after this second strip, you got a C and something like this. But I cannot make this song really loud somehow.
yeah, I think it would be something like that.
So I think what sorry, I'm tuned a little low, but I think what you're trying to do is you're playing this chord, but when you get to the bottom, you're hammering on the D note and pulling off like that. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, kind.
Yeah.
So for the most part, I can kind of tell that when you pull off, and a lot of people want to get more volume, kind of like shutdown, right? When I play shutdown,
Yeah.
the pull off doesn't actually have much volume to it. And a lot of times it's because, most times it's because when they pull down, they're not actually pulling down. They're pulling kind of away from the strings. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
the pull off kind of gets a little hidden.
yeah. Like a good way to practice that, Fang, would be to always fret a string and use your other fingers to pluck.
Yeah.
See, so I'm using all my other fingers. See, so now I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm getting the hammer on note, right? So without the right hand, hammer on, pull, hammer on, pull, hammer on, pull. Yeah.
Looks like it's getting better.
Yeah, so just so 2, 3. So think of it as triplets, yeah? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. But you're only plucking on beat one. 1, 2, 3, 1. And just try to get it real even. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I don't know if
I
that's
see.
if that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can move it, just practice 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you're playing the chord, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think
but
that's
that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
so
But
yeah, just
actually there's another confusion here. It's like after this this hammer and pull, you have a I think this what is this? It's like a second strap. It's like a 2 and 3, right? The first string,
Yeah.
6 3, and the third, because what you just play is this C chord is 5 and this 3. But what I'm confused is about this 2 and 3. How can I play this?
So you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do
yeah.
this.
That's it.
So you
Yeah.
play. So what it is you're playing the note, hammering on the fifth, pulling off for the third, and then pulling off for the second, and then back on. So you're hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See that? Yeah. And it's probably, and Feng, I would suggest practicing it without the chord first. So just plucking the bottom string. See?
Wow.
So just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah. And then add the chord. Yeah. The hardest one that it's going to be is getting that B note, which is the second, yeah? Because so you got to get that. So Feng, do this. The first thing you do is just do the 1 2 3 and then do the 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. So you practice just to get the 1 2 3, then the 1 2 3 4. Bring out that B note. And then go to the C. Then you complete the cycle. But I would take it one at a time. So 1 2 3. First the pick, hammer on, pull. Get comfortable with that. Then add this fourth note. Then add the final note. Yeah. And it's hard to do it slow because you kind of need the momentum, but if you can do it slow. Yeah. 1 2 3 4 1. 1 2 3 4 1. 1 2 3 4 1. 1 2 3 4 1. 1 2 3 4 1. 1. And just do that over and 1 2 3 4 1. 1 2 3 4 1. 1. 1. Yeah.
All
And
right, that's cool.
just do that
Yeah.
over and over and over, and try to keep it real even and in time. Yeah. And then add the chord, right? Because once you can do that, then adding the chord, just really helps to, yeah. But you want to practice just a single string first so you can really hear the articulation of everything you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, no
Good.
problem. How can we, wait, is it possible to improve finger stretch on left hand to reach wider range? Gets painful, impossible beyond couple of frets. Yeah, so this is for Angie. Yeah, I think finger stretches are really important. One of the things that I used to do is I used to just play. I think Bruce showed you all the four finger exercise,
Mhm.
right? Have you all done this? Yeah. Just at 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you go to the next string. Bruce? Have you guys
Yeah,
done that?
yeah,
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
covered that.
So then the next thing, did you guys do the one where you skip a fret?
No, I don't think I've
So
ever
you
done that one.
you do the same four finger exercise, right? But instead of going to the next fret, you skip one. So see that?
Hmm.
So I'm going first fret, third, fifth, seventh, first, third, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7. Yeah, and that's a really good exercise to get your fingers stretching. And then you can go put 2 frets in between. See that? So now I'm going 1, 4, 7, 10. Yeah.
I always kind of thought that, I mean, as far as trying to stretch,
I'm
as
sorry,
far
what's
as
that?
no, I always felt that as far as trying to stretch your fingers, like there's only so much you can do it, right? And as you start to use your thumb and you put pressure on your thumb, your fingers start to get smaller. So I always try to suggest too, besides just, like doing these stretching exercises, I think the position of your ukulele and the position of your thumb also plays a big role. Like one thing I notice is when I'm holding the ukulele and I need to stretch further or stretch kind of far, it helps to bring the neck closer to my left shoulder. And I feel like I can stretch a lot further than away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I always thought too, like whenever it comes to chords or something and it's really hard, first thing I would do is try to figure out the positioning of my thumb. Normally it's your baby finger that can't hit that fret, right? But by bringing
Mm.
it closer, adjusting your thumb, relaxing more, the more relaxed your hands are, the wider you can stretch them, and then the more tense they are, your fingers are going to want to curl in versus trying to extend out. So, so I kind of think that's something to consider as well.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, and I think just spending the time, to stretch, it's like learning to do the splits every day, you just gotta hold it there. It's a little painful, but hold it for as long as you can and then relax, shake it out, then try again and stretch, hold it as long as you can, and then,
Like, do you think it would make a difference? Like, what if you had somebody every day as a daily exercise? People stretch. They'll just take your fingers and kind of stretch it a little bit, hold it. You're gonna say, but you do that every day. You think that would
no,
help? Because that's
I
kind of what we're talking about, right?
no, I think that's different. There was I can't remember. There was a very famous classical pianist. Um, was it? Oh, I don't think it was. Was it? There was a very famous classical pianist, like back in the day, like Bach and Brahms and all those guys, but um, probably after Bach, but he invented some contraption for his fingers that would stretch his fingers out like this, and he would do that every day because he thought it would help him to reach beyond the normal octave, and he ended up damaging his hand and couldn't play the piano anymore. Oh shoots, I forget who that was. But anyways, yeah. So I don't recommend that. I mean, you can do it yourself, just this kind of thing. But I think it's probably more. You'll probably just to actually do it on your instrument, because you're stretching the fingers the way that you need it to be stretched. I think.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. Okay. Here's a good question. Maybe Angie. Maybe it's got to do with the cheaper UTEs. We had problems of balance with the piezo even after bringing it back to the shop a few times. Can you talk a bit about the preamp balance, if it can be fixed, etc.? We were also told not to remove all the strings at once to avoid affecting the balance. Okay.
So I just want to make a quick comment. I know that Jake is really good. I believed he was really good at adjusting string balance. So I gave him a ukulele to fix my string balance, but then, I never got it back. So
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna work on it this weekend. Um, yeah, string balance is a tough thing. You know, there's so many things that I found in my own experience that, like for example, I always remove all my strings at once when I change strings because I believe it after a while, when the saddle sits on that piezo strip, it kind of it almost like it gets too settled in, and it almost deadens the sound a little bit. So usually whenever I change my strings, I take all the strings off. I lift off the saddle and place it back, and then I put the strings back on. That way I feel like the saddle resets again on the piezo, and there's just more life again to the sound. But the reason they say that is because if you're not if you don't have the experience in setting, the saddle in your bridge, then sometimes you can throw off the balance again. Um, so I can understand both sides. Uh, the the saddle to piezo issue, um, the way that it sits on that piezo is so important, and people have used like little strips, like little shims, under the soft under the strings that are softer. There's these little cutouts that they put under, and those kind of do the job. But the problem is it changes the tone of that string. Um, and you got to remember now, I'm super picky, right? And the way that I want my strings to sound. So I never use those shims over the 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 piezo. One of the biggest things is you want to make sure that your saddle is completely flat. I always use a bone saddle because I feel like it gives me the best tone. I don't like those synthetic materials because I think they're too bright and too harsh. Um, you know, I've had some fossilized ivory, some tusk, and other exotic materials, and um, I don't know. I just feel like bone. There's just something about bone that that works well. But the problem with bone is it's very inconsistent, right? So I mean, you can buy a pack of 20 bone saddles, and you'll get maybe two or three good ones. So that's the problem. So experimentation, trying cutting each saddle, putting each one in, and just making sure that you pick the best out of that batch, and then you keep those, right, and you keep those and you use them for your instruments. That's what I had to do, to find the perfect saddles, for my instrument. The So yeah, so it's a process, and it's one that I feel like if you're gonna be real picky about it, then you gotta, like me, I felt bad after a while, like taking it back to shops and telling people, oh, it's still not sounding right. They'd be like, it sounds fine to me, and like, so it just made me realize, like, wow, well, if I'm gonna be this picky about it, then I better learn how to do it myself, because I shouldn't. It's hard to keep telling somebody, no, it's still not right, it's still not right. So especially if they can't hear it or they don't understand what you're trying to do or achieve. So I just, started doing a lot of research, talking to a lot of different luthiers, and learning how to shape the saddle, learning how to put it, flat on there. A lot of times it's the bridge itself, the saddle slot, that is not completely flat. So if that is not completely flat and consistent, um, then yeah, you're definitely going to have problems. Even also the angle in which, if the way the bridge sits, if it's too tight in the slot, then the string's not able to put the amount of pressure that it needs, because the slot itself is keeping the saddle from sitting in tightly. But then if it's too loose, the saddle's gonna move forward, or it's gonna shift, and then it won't be laying flat on the piezo as well. So it's finding that perfect balance. And believe me, I've gone through hundreds and hundreds of bone saddles, for my ukuleles, and and a lot of times there's adjustments even when you travel. Like when I travel a lot, the wood shifts. So then when I go, like if I'm playing in Colorado today, and then I go to San Diego the next day, the shift, the way the instrument changes is so drastic that my string balance will be completely out of whack, and I have to reset it again, by shaving and shaping the bottom of the saddle so that it sits good. And so the problem is every time I have to change it and make those changes, the saddle gets lower and lower. So unfortunately, after a couple years, I have to make a new saddle, for the instrument because it gets too low. But that's just basically, that's kind of just what you have to do when if you're traveling. But if you're not traveling and you're in one place and you don't have to worry about those kinds of changes, then yeah, usually you can probably have the same saddle, for the life of the instrument once you get it set correctly. Um,
Good.
so let's see. So Angie, hope that helped. Michio, which song was your most challenge and make you feel so proud of yourself? Oh, I have so many. By far, the most difficult piece of music I ever tackled was a piece that was written by Dr. Byron Yasui, who was he's a composer here at the University of Hawaii. He retired already, and he was one of my teachers. But he wrote a contemporary classical piece for ukulele and full orchestra. So it was it was like kind of the first. It really was the first that I know of, the first true ukulele concerto written in true, classical form. And that was it was a 30-minute piece of music, three movements with a cadenza in the third movement. Um, and that was probably by far the most difficult piece I ever tackled. And one of the reasons it was so difficult was because the piece was called campanella, and the style of campanella is when you play every note on a different string. So, for example, if you were playing like a like a scale like this, right? You would normally play it like this. But the problem with campanella, you're not allowed to play two notes that are on the same string. So if my next note is here, I have to play that D sharp here on a different string. Now the next note is B, so I can't do this. I have to go. I'm playing the D on the first string, C sharp on the fourth string, B on the second string, A on the first string, G on the fourth, F sharp on the second, E on the third string, right? So you have this like this cascading type of sound, but the whole song had to be played in that style. And the other thing was it was a contemporary classical piece of music, so it's very atonal, So a lot of it sounded. This was one of the parts in the first movement sounded something like this. So it was unlike anything that I had ever played before. But I mean, you just listen to that and you're like, what is, it was so crazy, but every note was written out. I mean, you just that opening, it's kind of like but it was this idea of it being the anti-ukulele song is what he called it, because it was based on all minor seconds and all tritones, which are the two intervals that aren't represented in the tuning of the ukulele, right? You have the high G, the C, the E, and the A. So between the G and the A, you have the major second. Between the C and the E, you have the major third. You have the E and the A, the fourth. The C and the G, the fifth. C and the A, you have the sixth, right? So you have all of those intervals represented, but you don't have the minor second, which sounds like this, right? The half step, and the tritone, which sounds like this. So you don't. So the whole piece are based on these tritone intervals mixed with minor seconds, right? And they're just all over, all over. And he would have these cascading runs that sounded. Wait, it's been so long. So that's an idea of the campanella style, and with those minor second
I
intervals just cascading one after another.
I remember hearing you practicing that song, and I swear I just thought he's just making this up. This isn't a song. It just sounds like you just make. I remember I used to grab my ukulele and just do things like I don't know what I'm doing. Hey, it's the same song. Jun, 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 jun. Oh,
Yeah, but that was
but
by far the biggest challenge that I've ever tackled. And and I'm so bummed because there's a recording of it, but there's with the union and all of that, there's a lot of hurdles to tackle, before releasing something like that. But I recorded that back in I think 2010, maybe 2010, and it was with the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra. We did 2 nights, and then I did it with the Buffalo Philharmonic, um, and it was the conductor was Joanne Folletta, who's this phenomenal conductor, and she was the artistic director of the Hawaii Symphony back then. So it was really an honor to work with her. Um, but yeah, so that was by far the most difficult thing I ever that I ever tackled. Um, Carl, what is your process when arranging a familiar song? For instance, your arrangement of Kavika, Hilave, or even Hallelujah are very unique. How do you take the traditional arrangement and make it your own? Yeah, it's just what I hear. Sometimes it's conceptual, like for Kavika, taking something like Kavika and equating it. I used to tell people that it's kind of like the Stairway to Heaven, for ukulele players, because like guitar players all want to learn the intro to Stairway to Heaven, and Kavika had this amazing ukulele intro that we all wanted to learn and play. So kind of and so there's this part in Kavika. Well, the verse goes um, that's the melody, right? So it's those 3 notes: D F F D D D D F F F G G G F F D D D F F F D F D F D F D F D F D, right? So that's because it was based on a chant, so that's the melody there. So just to reharmonize it in a way to give it a little bit more movement and a little bit more, rather than just playing, right? That's all over D minor. Da 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 da, and then it changes there. So now what I can do is, instead of just playing D minor the whole way, I can add these other chords to make it sound a little more interesting. And because I used to reference the Stairway to Heaven thing, if you think about Stairway to Heaven, it starts like this, yeah. Right? So that's the movement, right? It's that minor major 7, minor 7 to the minor 6. So when I play the melody, I used that motion to go with the melody. So instead of just, now I'm doing this. And change. And that takes me to the next section. So when I play it fast, it sounds like, opposed to just staying on D minor and just. Yeah. So it just adds a lot more color. It adds, it changes the relationship of the melody note to what the root of the chord is, and just makes it more interesting. So sometimes I'll be more conceptual like that. Other times, like Hi Lave, I mean, I'm just thinking of Gabby Painui singing that song, and it's just that. Whoa, I'm so out of tune. Sorry.
Hey, so Jake, I don't want to take up all of your time, but if you have to go and can't get through all the questions, it's not a big deal. Because
Yeah.
you can always come back next week and do the
Well,
same.
yeah, no. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Actually, I do have to go in a little bit. So let me try to get to some of these other questions. Why does the scale start with C and not A? Oh, so Zach is asking, why does the scale start with C and not A? No, it just depends on the the C scale starts with C, but an A scale starts with A. Like an A minor scale would start with A and go up to the next A. So it just depends. A scale can start on any note, and any pitch. It just depends on what key you're in, right? So yeah. So I mean, so it can start with any note. Um, Julie was asking, I watched your string. Oh, thanks for watching. You were up late. Uh, let's see. I watched your string changing video the other night. I'm wondering if I could use those same strings on my concert size ukulele. The info online seemed to be that you can use the same strings for both tenor and concert. Yeah. Yeah, I think I don't play a concert, so I can't give you a good answer for that, but I would say, try it and see. And if you need more tension, just go up to a higher gauge string for your A string. Just make sure it can fit properly in the nut of the ukulele here. If it's too narrow, you may have to have someone cut the nut a little wider, for you. But yeah, but I would say just try it, and see. And when you do it, sit with it for about a week. Like, don't just put it on and be like, I don't like it, and take it off. You gotta sit with it, give it a good week or two, kind of sit with it, and then make an honest, then make an honest, I guess, judgment on how you feel about the tension there. How do you shape your nails? So Yanting is asking, how do I shape my nails? I use a nail buffer. It's like a little emery board with a very fine, you know, uh, buffing paper on the side, and that works well for me. Um, let's see. I guess I need more. Thanks, everyone. Okay, I think I got a best tip that I can give to a beginner and intermediate player to get to the next level. I think there's really no levels. I mean, it's just it's you just got to keep playing. It's I I think that the more you play, the more experience your fingers, the more time your fingers can spend on the instrument. It's just things are just going to come more natural to you. So I would say just keep picking it up. I mean, one of the best things, if you have more than one ukulele, because I have a couple ukuleles in the house. What I like to do is I like to leave them in different rooms. So like if I'm so we have one in the living room that is right there. So at any time we can just pick it up and play. You know, Well, we have two in the living room. I have, I have a bunch in my studio. I have one in the bedroom. I have one, always keep one in the car. So like if I'm waiting to pick someone up or whatever, right? And it's just a cheap one because you don't want to leave a good one in the car. But at least I have something to play, or my sons play too. So if they're in the back seat, we're driving somewhere, they'll play. And to me, that's the best thing. The more you do it, you just got to keep doing it every day, and it just becomes more natural. I would say the best tip is to just make it as accessible as possible. I know you're supposed to put your ukulele away in the case and all that, but if it's going to be a process where you got to go back to your bedroom and take it out of the closet and then open it up and then take it out, but versus if it's just on top of a shelf where it's not going to fall and you can easily just grab it at any time and play, it takes minimal effort. Because once you pick it up, it's like, oh, I'm so glad I picked it up. But sometimes when you're thinking, oh, it's upstairs in the case, and so make it accessible. Most important properties of ukulele, besides practice to check by. Oh, besides price. That's a tough one. I
But
don't
actually,
know.
I
But
want
Bruce's Shima ukuleles are pretty good.
no, but Angie, I wanted to let you know that I did an episode on my channel about trying to choose a ukulele, and I did purposely mention that I will not talk about Shima ukulele because I'm not trying to, like promote that. But I did do a video, and it kind of just talked about the feel and basically with price, unfortunately, the things that you pay for are things like solid wood versus laminate, handmade versus mass produced. But I think a lot of the things that I look for and a lot of the things that Jake looks for, which is more the feel, the sound, things like that, you're not actually being charged extra for those things. So I actually suggest basically that you shouldn't just go off by price. You should try it out, make sure. One of the advantages of playing an instrument is you can buy your sound, buy the voice that you want, the tone that you want. As a singer, we can't really do that, right? We're kind of stuck with our voice. I wish I could sing like this guy or this guy, but it's not how my voice is. So you might enjoy that episode. It's on my channel. I believe it's somewhere around episode 30 something, but it's just titled "Buying a Ukulele," and I think you'll find some useful information there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, one thing that I'd like to add to that is try a lot of different ukes. Go to the store, and you want to play something that you feel like you have a connection with. There's always gonna be that one ukulele you pick up, and regardless of the price, you're gonna pick it up and you're like, oh, you don't know what it is, but you're like, oh, I just love playing this one, this one ukulele. And for whatever reason, you want to you don't know why, but that's the feeling that you want. Because if you have that feeling with the instrument, you're going to be inspired to pick it up and play it. You're going to want to play it all the time. So I would say that the one that feels good to you, the one that when you pick it up, you feel like, oh, I'm connected to this. I was connected to this tree somehow. It's like, or whatever. But try to find something that really speaks to you like that, because to me, that's the most important thing in the big picture. It's the one that you're going to want to pick up and play. The one that you look forward to coming home to play, after work or after a long day. So. Yeah, but there's one more question by Linda here. For drumsticks, do you keep the straight count beat with the left hand and then the offbeat? Well, yeah. So whatever hand you're strumming with. So if you're right-handed and you strum with your right hand, you know, play the downbeats with that right hand. If you're a left-hander and you strum with your left hand, right? Play the downbeats with the left hand, and the offbeats with the hand that is not strumming. Because most of the time when you're playing, in the beginning anyways, your downstrokes are going to be those downbeats, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and the ands are going to be up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So when you're drumming, it's very similar, because you're going one and. See how your right hand is coming up on the and. So it's like the strum, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 and right. So you want to have that motion 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So yeah, so I would say, yep, whatever hand you're strumming with, that's the hand that's going to hit all the downbeats, all the numbers, and then the ands are going to be with the other hand.
All right,
Okay.
that sounds good.
Sorry guys, I have to go, but
And then
oh
Stacy,
Stacy, yes, that is
that is
soundproofing on my wall. It's actually a sound diffuser. So, when you're listening back to mixes, or even if you're playing, yeah, there's some kind of scientific mathematical equation in the length of each post, and how it breaks the sound waves, and then disperses it so that it cancels out other waves. I don't know how it works, but something like that.
all right. Well, yeah,
Okay,
thanks for hanging out, and then
yeah.
I'll let you go. And all
Thank you
All
so
right,
right.
much.
Thanks, you guys. That was awesome. Take
hey,
care.
are we
All
are
right,
we on
Bruce.
for Friday? Are we doing your thing on Friday, or is that not
Yeah, I
not
guess
confirmed?
so. I think so. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
All right.
All right, sounds good. Thanks,
Thank
man.
you
You-
so
Thank
much.
you.
okay. All right. We'll see
Ciao.
you
All right,
later. Thanks,
have a
Bruce. I'll
good
call you
one.
later.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good. All
Bye.
right. Oh, that's nice. Let's see, spotlight. Oh, oh, easy day today. Just kind of hang out and just listen and drink my drink. Oh, okay. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah, I'm glad you guys asked him um, a lot of questions, and I think slowly he's trying to do more things like this. He is getting a little bit more active with like these Zoom meetings and his Facebook Live. So it's kind of nice. Like I was kind of surprised to see him, do a Facebook Live at 1 in the morning by himself, which is a good sign. So it's good. Yeah, in the beginning he was kind of like he didn't, he doesn't really understand technology and all of that. So in the beginning, he was kind of more stressed out about trying to do these things. But yeah, it's good to see that he's doing more things. So hopefully we can get him on more often. And then I'm gonna start wrapping up as well. But um, but then I also kind of wanted to mention too that I am looking into how we can all kind of record something together. I can't remember who it was. I don't know. Was it Nancy who sent me a link to show me that video, and you said it was really well done? Um, no, no, yeah, I'm paying for it for the Zoom. Oh, Linda. So I got your email. I hit the link, but the video was like over 7 hours long. And I was thinking, okay, I'm assuming the song is like 3 minutes. And I tried to, just kind of scroll through it a little bit, and I guess I missed it. But I was thinking, what are the chances of me finding this 3 minute song in this 7 hour video? So I didn't actually see it. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't get the timestamp thing. Okay, I'll go double check, but yeah, that's typical of me. Like, oh, here's the link to the video, and I'll just click on the thing and not even finish reading the whole thing. Okay, that's my fault. I will I will definitely check it out again. So I am looking into it, and then Jake's Facebook is, I think it's just Jake Shimabukuro. I think so. I don't know if it's Jake Shimabukuro music, but I think it's just Jake Shimabukuro. And then every Fridays he does a live at the same time, 2 o'clock Hawaii time. But okay, so anyways, yeah, so just kind of I'm glad we had this opportunity, and try to take some time covering that song. There She Goes. I think that's a really cool song. The melody isn't that difficult. The chords aren't that difficult. It's just a matter of how you want to put it together. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Or Mark, I know you're gonna call it a night and go to sleep soon. But oh,
Yeah,
oh
10,
goodness.
10 to 3 in the morning, yeah.
Wow. All right, go get some rest. So yeah, today was a good session.
Fantastic.
Thanks for hanging out. I know it was a little long today, but yeah, I thought it was good. You know, Jake can always offer some things that even I don't know or understand. But it was fun. So,
Thank you.
anyways, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you
All
so much, Bruce.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yes,
much,
take care.
Bruce.
Thanks a lot.
See ya.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank